Our next guest is a BYU grad who spent his career making movies and is the director of the new documentary Sharing Aloha, which gives folks a look at the Polynesian Cultural Center like never before. And it's our pleasure to welcome Blair Treu to the Wise Guys. Aloha.
Hey, aloha. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah,
this is a big night for us. You're part of it.
I'm a big Chase Roberts fan.
We got Chase Roberts. You got you coming up, and then AJ's coming on right after you.
I just got a nice little selfie with Chase.
There
you
you
can
go.
send to my buddy Will Farron just to prove that I was here.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
So
That's
there
awesome.
you go. That's right. You're close to Will. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
his parents, we've been friends for 35 years.
Yeah, in the premiere here in Orem at the Sarah.
Yeah, Will was there.
Will was there,
Yeah.
and we did some pictures with Will, and Blair invited us to come too. And I didn't realize that you had such a good connection with Will's folks. So.
Yeah.
When he kicked that field goal, did you go nuts?
I was jumping up and down in the living room. I was so excited.
As we would
so fun.
expect. When you walked off your campus here in 1985 with your degree, could you imagine the journey you were going to be on?
No, you only hope that you're going to get some opportunities, but you never know what's going to come your way.
Yeah.
And so, you just have to kind of work your way through small stuff and then some bigger stuff and some more small stuff and, Disney, Nickelodeon, those kinds of things. And then, that I think the thing has been exciting for me is to be involved in these types of projects where it's more than just entertainment, more than just commerce. It's about a deeper purpose.
When you had this conversation with Cheryl and her parents that you were going to be a filmmaker, this is what you were going to do. This is how you were going to pay the bills. And this is how you're going to take care of your family. How did that go?
Yeah, it was just kind of a blank stare. It's like, really? I mean, could it be maybe an engineer? Well, I don't have the brains to be an engineer. So, I tried a business degree and that didn't work out for me. So I just didn't feel like I could do anything else than to be a storyteller. And so it's been awesome. And I've been very fortunate to stay busy and just, to have a pretty decent career for a pretty long period of time.
What surprised you the most about being a filmmaker? Where you just go, wow.
Well, that's a good question. I don't get that very often. I'd probably say, you never, what surprised me is how much you just don't know. I mean, there's guys around you who do such great work. And I guess I just didn't think it was going to be this hard. If I'm being honest, it was not easy. So, you go into it with kind of this pie in the sky, I'm going to be great. And you need that to push through. I think any athlete would need that, right?
Yeah.
But it's a lot harder than you think it's going to be.
And when you guys moved the family down to Southern California, right?
Yeah. In the beginning.
In the beginning to kind of get your start down, Hollywood that's where it's at. That's where you go if you're going to be a filmmaker. And how do you even get going? And you say, yeah, I do little stuff. Nickelodeon and Disney and all these things don't sound like little stuff to us.
I didn't start there.
Yeah, you were working with major filmmakers making big time films, but how do you even get started? You come out of BYU and then you go down to LA and just like, hey, here I am. How do you even get going?
Well, you have to do a lot of little projects to show that you can work with a budget, you can finish something, and then it's watchable. So it's like, okay, he didn't have much to work with here, but it's not bad. It's pretty entertaining. Let's give him a little bit more in this next one. So you do anything from promotionals, TV commercials, you start short, and then you get a little bit longer into the longer formats as time goes on.
Sylvia is on the live stream from Wisconsin. Tracy joining us from Raleigh, North Carolina. Filmmaker Blair Treu is on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus and distributed by the Deseret News. If you've ever been to a movie set, you will know this. The most patient person ever has to be the director of the film because it is so tedious.
It is.
I mean,
It's
everything.
like
a plane goes by, stop. How did that not drive you nuts?
It does. It does. I mean, on the set inside, actually, most of the time, people wouldn't know this, but I'm raging.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an intense because I build my day by 5-minute increments. I know what shot I'm supposed to be on. I know what kind of coverage I need, and it's planned out, and you have to know that by 9:30 in the morning, you got to be on shot number 3, and by 4 in the afternoon, you got to be by shot 45.
Yeah.
And it's all laid out. And so if it doesn't go as well, you've got to have kind of these are the must-haves, and then these are the would-like-to-haves, and you've always got to have a backup plan because it never goes as planned.
Blair's directed me before.
That's right.
Because And this is a fun project. And by the way, BYU Cougar 84 says the Paper Brigade is one of my favorite movies ever. So
that was a fun one to make.
Yeah, so there you go.
Geese and children and animals and kids.
Yeah, there you go. But Blair was the brains behind the missionary training videos. That are the safety videos, the safety zone.
That's right. The safety zone.
The first presidency decided they wanted to remake these safety videos for the missionary department, and they came to Blair, and it was a great filmmaker. They said, "Can you do something fun with this that the missionaries will actually want to watch?" And so he rounded up Spencer and Jerem and I, and
we wrote it just for Spencer and Jerem because we wanted to do kind of a talk show format, a sports format, where you could have banter back and forth, and you could have replays, and you could do some fun things. And so the challenge was missionary safety. Now, just say that. Can you think of anything?
Exciting.
Yeah, can you think of anything?
Doesn't sound exciting.
Like, how do I hang wallpaper, right? So, and so we took it on with the idea that let's do what we need to do to see if we can move the needle. And we were excited because we actually did, with your help and Spencer and Jerem.
I made a guest appearance to co-host P-Day Safety.
Nice. Yeah.
And Gifford Nielsen was on an episode.
Yeah, and Giff came on and hosted.
Yeah. A lot of things go wrong on P-Day.
Well,
I do know that.
Dave and I have done live broadcasts and shows to millions of people. And I get asked more often than anything, especially if I'm in a foreign country and we run into missionaries, they go, "Hey, this is going to be a really weird question, but are you the safety guy from P-Day Safety?" I'm like, "I am the safety guy." They go, "We have to watch that once a quarter. I've seen you 8 times on my mission already."
That's awesome. That's great.
Well, Blair, can you watch a movie? Can you go to the theater and watch a movie without going, "Well, that's a bad shot," or that edit didn't work?
It's hard. I usually come out of the theater disappointed because either I'm mad that I couldn't have made that because it was so good, or I just wasted 2 hours.
So it's ruined movies together.
Yeah, but that's just part of it.
Yeah.
How often do you see something and go, "Oh man, this would make a good movie"?
All the time, especially in the doc space, because I work in both feature film, episodic television, as well as documentary. So in documentary, every time I see anything happen on the field, sports related, I'm always thinking, "Oh, there's got to be a story behind it."
Oh yeah.
Where did most of your ideas come from?
Well, in the early days, it was somebody would send me a script, and I just had to read it and try to absorb it and see, okay, is this something I think I could tell? Or in the case of like sharing Aloha, I went out there and met these kids who come from the 15 million square miles of the Pacific, these Polynesian kids. And there were so many stories to choose from. These kids come from really difficult circumstances. And, it's just tough getting there, tough staying there, and then tough to graduate from there. And think what they get. They get equivalents of what a Division I scholarship used to be. They get a full ride scholarship,
school and
housing,
room and board.
Yep, health insurance, the whole 9 yards.
You've made, as we mentioned, Hollywood director, worked with the Disney Channel. You've made music videos, all kinds of church productions. We could go through a bunch of the church things that you've made that I know you've been involved in, including Meet the Mormons, which was a really, really fun project. In 2014, BYU TV Productions, you Granite Flats. So this sharing Aloha that just premiered, I just went to the premiere just not that long ago. We have a video clip that we want to show of this. How did that even come about? You said you met these kids, and before we show the clip, how did you even get involved in that project and get it going?
Well, I had been to PCC, Polynesian Cultural Center, a couple times just as a tourist, right? I'd also had connections with Kenny Numatalolo when I did the story on the Navy head coach.
Yeah, Meet the Mormons. Yeah.
So there was kind of this connection to the Polynesian community, and where there's Polynesians, there's football, right? Mm-hmm. And so there was that connection. But one of the stories that never made it into Meet the Mormons was about a young man who was the lead character in the night show. Oh. And I didn't know it at the time, but that was what was preparing me to do the larger story of this is like 8 years after.
Yeah.
And so the footage that we shot on him, he ended up working his way back into the story, and we put him in the doc. So that's how it came to be. And they have, it's privately funded. Mm-hmm. And so, it's kind of, how do I describe that? Privately funded, but also within the approval of the Polynesian Cultural Center. And so they came to me and said, "Hey, we want to do something that tells this backstory of where these kids come from and what we're all about." And we all agreed that it really had to be serviced by the stories of the kids. That had to be front and center. Not, how many fish do we eat at the PCC every day and how many tourists do we serve? It's really got to be about the journey of these kids that come to the PCC.
And literally is changing lives.
Yeah, literally. It really is.
Not just for the kids families, for the kids' communities.
Whole community.
The PCC provides an opportunity for kids to come from all over Polynesia and literally changes the lives.
Yeah. And you get a chance to, if you've been to the PCC, you get to meet these fresh-faced kids that are just so pure and so awesome. And you get a chance to go behind the scenes and see what they go through, to be in the night show and the rehearsals and the schedules and the late night studies that they got to do. It's pretty tough.
We've got a clip. DJ's got it ready. A 2-minute clip of Sharing Aloha. Take a look.
From the very beginning, I felt like I was going to have some issues fitting in.
All I wanted to do was to prove to my parents I'm not a failure.
Everyone is big, Polynesian looking, and I'm here, small, Asian, skinny, Filipino looking kid. I'm gonna see if they're gonna take me, and hopefully they do.
Good morning and welcome. We're excited to have you here with us today.
You have to audition in front of everybody.
I was so nervous and so scared.
I don't blame them for being nervous.
It can be overwhelming.
The first number will be 14.
You ever watch Gladiator? You win the crowd, you win your freedom.
Female fire knife dancers are very rare.
It's a male-dominated sport, but for us to pull it off on the big stage, when we feel like we did really good, I think we know it.
Imagine dancing for 90 minutes, solid, hard.
People say we're slave labor. People say that we're selling our culture for money.
Take a picture, it lasts longer.
Is it cultural appropriation? I call it cultural survival.
It's not just about performing. This is about sharing your culture. This is about sharing who you are as a people.
They didn't go on Google. They learned it at the knees of their ancestors.
A lot of us kids were able to come from the islands, be able to get an education because of this place.
Most students are in debt almost for life.
Atia Chipsao.
Students are able to get an education almost for free, which is unheard of.
I found a family here.
It's been going good. They haven't kicked me out yet, so.
It has made the rounds with the film festivals. Why do people love this?
I think it speaks on a very human level. And if anybody's ever been a student, when you have to balance the academic side and wherever you're working, whether it's flipping burgers or performing in a night show or wherever, it's not easy. Or as an athlete, these kids are athletes,
right?
And they have injuries. They get burned. Sometimes they hurt knees, they hurt elbows, and it's. I think that's it. I think it's just overcoming the struggle. It's the human journey. It's what all of you have experienced. Each of you in your careers have had to deal with things to get where you are.
Well, plus there's something about fire. When the fire dancers come out to start the fourth quarter at Lavelle Edwards Stadium, place goes nuts. Yeah. And I was thinking of that as I was watching that clip.
They do. They really do. And I got a chance to try that, and I'm glad I only did it once, and I dropped it right away.
And these kids, not only do you follow them at their time at the Polynesian Cultural Center, but you actually went to the homes, back to the islands with some of these kids and told the backstory behind what their family life's like and how they got there, right?
That's right. We went to Fiji. We went to Samoa. And Tonga. We spent a lot of time in Tonga, Tahiti as well. And we follow one student in particular. I don't want to give too much away, but in Tonga. And so for the Tongan community, we have some sneak previews coming up in Los Angeles, and we just had one in San Francisco, and they absolutely love it because it really does. They come up to me and say, wow, this is our story. Mm-hmm. And it is their story. It's not my story. I was honored to be able to tell it, but this is their story. The Polynesian community at large, but the Tongan community especially, there's really well represented.
Filmmaker and BYU grad Blair Treu on the Wise Guys. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and wiseguys.com all over the world. So among the actors that you've worked with and bossed around as the director and filmmaker, Christopher Lloyd, Shelley Long, Dom DeLuise, Mickey Rooney, Vivica A. Fox, and others. Do you have a favorite?
You know, I was told in the early going on a production, it was a Disney Channel movie. It was, what was it called? It was Phantom of the Megaplex. It's been a perennial favorite around Halloween. Then Mickey Rooney was going to be really tough.
Yeah.
And so I was a little bit nervous about that, but I found that to be just the opposite. Because on day one, I said, look, Mr. Rooney, tell me what you want me to call you. You've been in 500 films.
Yeah.
You've forgotten more than I'll ever learn. And so, you know what? I've got some ideas. We'll just bat them around and see how they fall off the truck. And I'm going to be, I'm open, and let's just have some fun. And he was just an absolute delight to work with.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so, and I found that most of them, Katherine Heigl's another one that sometimes has a little bit of reputation that can be pretty difficult. Not so for me. She was just absolutely delightful to work with.
What attributes make a great actor or actress?
Being able to be vulnerable, being open, being willing to work with your co-stars to get, to receive and to give feedback. Not just during the scene, but after, to run lines, to not just go to the trailer and really be a team player. Another guy was, do you remember McHale's Navy?
Oh, yeah.
Who was the lead in that? Now I'm spacing.
He wasn't the dude in Hogan's Heroes, was it?
No, he was in Marty as well. Why can't I think of his name now all of a sudden? I'm just totally blanking. He never left the set. He's an old-time actor. He just always wanted to be there. And, I'm just totally blanking. But anyway.
Yeah.
Well, what makes a filmmaker great?
You just have to be really tenacious, I think. I've never really considered myself to be all that gifted or talented, but I do work really hard.
Yeah.
And whatever gifts, I think, to take a little cue from what Chase said, I really appreciate the football team, the emphasis on the spiritual side of things. So I've always felt that whatever gifts I might have, they're on loan. They're on loan from our Heavenly Father, and that's where they come from. And He can give them and He can take them away. And so if we're not in tune there, I cannot tell you how many times He saved me on Meet the Mormons and on this show.
Yeah.
To have little ideas that would come into my head, but I know where they come from. And so I think that's the other part that I just can't take credit for that. That comes from a greater power.
Isn't that the key to life, to remember where it all comes from? And that's some of the first things we forget once things start to work out.
Yeah, it's true. Hollywood can get inside your head and make you feel like if you're not careful, you can fall into that self-important, that range pretty quickly. That happens at festivals a lot. And but that's where those gifts come from. And I just feel really lucky to be part of that great work.
I know you've loved this project. It's been as you've worked on it, you've fallen in love with these kids and with this project, and you're really proud of this work. And it's won a bunch of awards at the film festival. So what's the hope for this?
Well, the hope is that people will see it, first of all. So it comes out in September. I'll just give you a little sense of the rollout. So it's going to come out in theaters in September in limited theatrical release. Markets such as, the Utah Wasatch Front, Las Vegas, probably Arizona, Texas, maybe Orlando, Hawaii for sure, Northern and Southern California, and maybe some other markets as well. But by Hollywood standards, a limited release. And then the hope is that enough people go see it on that opening weekend that it'll stick around for a while. And then we're trying to crack that top algorithm at Amazon Prime or Netflix, so that when it gets on there, it'll stream and it'll you don't have to search for it; it'll just show up. And the whole goal is really simple. The PCC exists to fund scholarships for these kids. Every dime that this movie makes is going back to the PCC. It's not going to me, and it's just going back to PCC. And so that's one thing I'd want the viewers to kind of understand. And that is all the revenue from the streaming also goes back to PCC. But the more people that go to the PCC and lay that money down and go in and buy a ticket, support these kids, and that's where it goes. And so the goal is to just raise more awareness of the PCC, and people who might go to the islands and maybe skip it and go do something else. Having seen this film, we hope that they'll actually go to the PCC.
It's a great. There's a great vibe there.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, that's awesome. 5 questions now for Blair Treu, presented by Strategy Square. Revolutionize your company's social media presence with Chantal at strategysquare.co. Now we're going to get into some really deep stuff.
And you're not even you just have to the first thing that comes to your mind on these.
Okay.
So, and Chase has done a similar thing before. We did his 5 favorite touchdowns because we already did an exercise like this with him before. Yeah. So since this is your first time on, hopefully not the last, bring on for the next project. Or when this thing just goes huge, then you can come back and tell us how it went huge. So,
let's hope for that. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, we're going to start with this. Your favorite sports movie?
Oh, it has to be Moneyball.
Moneyball. Okay, from a director's perspective, was it really well made?
Absolutely. It's in probably my top 10.
Yeah, I love it.
Not just sports movies, but all time.
Brad
all
Pitt
genres.
is awesome.
I thought it was interesting how they tied in real actual game footage with then what they recreated with actors.
It really was
as
seamless.
part of it.
Yeah.
It really was. It was a
really well-made movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a great one. Your favorite action movie?
Action movie. Probably, and this is back when I was young and impressionable as a young filmmaker, probably The French Connection.
French Connection.
But that wasn't really an action movie. I don't know. That was more of a drama, but there were some chase scenes that are just to this day.
It's a classic movie, though.
Yeah.
So
French Connection. Was that with Gene Hackman?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Your favorite animated movie?
Probably, again, it's an oldie, but maybe it's because of the influence of my kids. It probably was, that's a tough one. Man alive, that's a tough one. Ariel.
The Little Mermaid?
Yeah, Little Mermaid. Because, the music was amazing in that film.
Yeah.
So that one.
So Lion King was on TV the other night,
Yeah.
and I was flipping around, and I had it on, and Diane came in and saw me. She's watching cartoons, and I go, you know what? This Lion King, they did a great job with that. The story and then the animation. I know they came back and did a
live action
one. Yeah. But as far as cartoons go, it drew adults in because the story was good.
Yeah, it's all about story. It always is about story.
Yeah. Hey, this cartoon that my grandkids watch called Bluey, to me is I feel like it's terrible animation.
The kids love it.
But the stories, you start to watch the stories, you get drawn in, and then you're starting to feel bad for Bluey, and you're and it's just.
I've not seen it.
Yeah, the stories are so compelling.
It's
I'm
coming.
now I see why the kids like it. Visually, it's not great, but man, the stories. Okay, how about your favorite movie star?
To work with or just to watch?
Just to watch.
Just to watch.
I'd probably have to say Anthony Hopkins.
Oh yeah, classic.
How come?
He is so. I really appreciate the fact that he's very diverse. He can play anything. Think about Silence of the Lambs, which again, hopefully many of your audience has seen the G-rated, version.
Yeah,
it's much shorter.
Yeah.
But when you think about Silence of the Lambs, you think about World's Fastest Indian, or I don't know what that popped in, but he can play anything.
Anything. Yeah.
A grandpa, just a very gentle character to a serial killer.
Well, let's follow. We'll do a 4B then. What about your favorite actor you've ever worked with? Favorite movie star you've ever worked with?
I was a big Redford fan back in the day, and I had a chance to work with him on a couple of just some spots, but so it's a tie. Probably him.
So Robert Redford,
because of on a personal level, and Kevin Bacon.
And Kevin Bacon.
Because I was Kevin's stunt double in Footloose.
Oh wow.
And I got to know him, and so I got to know him really well.
Wait! Don't just skip past that.
Kevin Bacon stunt double in Footloose.
Well, were you in for the dancing parts?
No. He had a dance double, a gymnastics double, a couple of stunt doubles, and a stand-in. I was there every day because I was a stand-in, and I wanted to be there so I could watch the director work with him and work with all the key roles.
Yeah.
And he is the nicest guy you would ever want to meet.
So he's the guy that it seems like you'd want to hang out with him in the film, and you probably do want to hang out with him.
Oh, yeah. I would hang out any day. We used to walk around the mall together at night with Sarah Jessica Parker back before he was a big star. And we walk around and I'd say, you're going to be a big star when this comes out. And he said, who knows?
So if we go back and watch the old version, will we see you standing in any of that?
No, you'll see me. They did put me in. I think I had a line in one. Well, I had a line in one scene because an actor came in and the director, whatever, didn't like it. He said, "Blair, will you just go in and do that?"
What'd you say?
Try it. It's when he's washing his car and some wacko drives by and said, "Hey, McCormick, sorry to hear you got caught." And that's me.
That's
yelling
you?
out of a car. Yeah.
That's funny.
We have a movie star here.
Hey,
Not
no,
just
no,
a filmmaker.
Yeah,
We got a
he's
movie
star.
star.
And by the way, John Franklin says, "I watched your Safety Zone this morning, Blaine." Like, what? He watched our show this morning. And then, what are your top 3 movies and directors of all time? They're like, people are loving this, but I like that Conrad Monson says, "I love Bluey." So there you go. That's great stuff. So the last question is your favorite BYU moment.
Boy, I'll tell you, the 84 championship for sure. I was a senior that year.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, Blaine. I tried to walk on 82.
What?
As a kicker.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Who was the kicker?
Lee Johnson. I tried to walk on as a punter.
It's hard to be a guy that played in the NFL for 19 years, right?
I kicked 3 times for Coach Pella.
Yeah.
And I kicked a nice tight spiral, but it didn't have anywhere near the hang time or the range or the distance.
Thunderfoot was just launching him.
I watched him, and Coach just looked at me like, "Do you want to kick anymore?" I go, "No, I'm good."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Keep kicking, it would bring rain, you know.
The 84 championship. What a great way to wrap up your BYU time.
I appreciate that more than you know, right? So
yeah, I know you do.
So
we're so glad you came on the show.
No, it's an honor for me to be here.
It's great to have BYU guys here that have done great things.
We did, and we focus most of the time on sports, but we anybody that has ties to BYU that are doing great things in the world, we want to spotlight it. And so you're one of those, and we're glad you'd come on and share what you've done. This film, Sharing Aloha. People can go to sharingalohathemovie.com and get information on it. Broad release, limited release in September, winning all kinds of film festival awards. Congrats on what you've done, and thanks for inviting me to the premiere. And wow, it really was something.
Well, it's great to have you, and it's great to be here. Love what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
All right.
So you said hello to Chase Roberts on your way in. On your way out, you can say hi to AJ DeBanso over there.
There's AJ.
I will.
The top recruit in the world.
That's awesome.
Blair, thank you for being here.
Thanks so much, Blair.
Thanks for having me.
We love you, brother. Thanks for all the good work you're doing.
Thanks, man.
And next time you watch Footloose, I'll be watching for that
can you
truck
believe
driving by.
Kevin Bacon stunt double in Footloose?
And he gets to yell at Kevin Bacon. That's fantastic.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Great fun. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Blair.